Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on the Sage Executive Podcast. My name is Fernando Corona, one of the hosts here at Flying V Group. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce somebody with us today. She is awesome. She's got this amazing experience and amazing voice for that matter. So please, can you share with us who you are and what you do?
My name is Tasia Valenza, and I'm an Emmy winning actor, speaker, and executive communications coach. And my platform is to give great voice. And I teach the art of confident verbal communication by helping you to think like a voiceover actor in your own life so you can play your personal and professional roles more successfully with more confidence, more charisma, more conviction, more clarity, and land your message in the way that you intended.
Yeah, and we were talking about that just before we started recording, where sometimes you're saying, somebody's original voice, their personal voice, let's say, may not fit the requirements for their professional setting, right? Can you kind of give an example of where your skill set would really come in? Who needs this? Who are the individuals that in their personal lives maybe they lack a certain voice in their professional life?
Yeah, so that's a great question because, we're born with certain voices and tones and temperaments. And in terms of, some of us have lighter voices, some of us have more dark, a little bit more gravitas. And for instance, I work with female lawyers, and sometimes they come in, maybe again, their cultural backgrounds or just their natural tones. They don't have quite the authority that's needed to help them. Some of them are really talented, but they're not moving up in their firms. And I've worked with them so I can help them understand their role, which is again to convey authority because they have to convince and gain trust. And we have, a sense of what authority sounds like. And it usually, as a voiceover actor, I always read gravitas, grounded. So I help them kind of help their awareness, of course, what are their intentions? And we always ask 4 questions. Who am I in the scene? Who am I speaking to? What do I want? And how does my voice support that intention? And so at least getting them understand that in their home life or with their friends, that's a different role. So they can absolutely have their natural voice. But in the role of lawyer, especially if you're a litigator or you need to be in a court, or you want to just convey doctor, lawyers, anybody who's in a leadership position. Yeah. Trustworthiness and warmth and gravitas is something that we connect with leaders, lawyers, leaders, anybody who's in a state of authority. And the tone is something that we're drawn to. And this is scientifically proven, right? We're drawn to these deeper, richer voices. If you think about the vocal superheroes, the Morgan Freemans and the Oprahs and the Sigourney Weavers and the James Earl Jones, and these are all the voices that captivate us. And so when I work with all of my clients that weren't naturally gifted with it, I help them place it. I help them get it into their diaphragms, which again is more supportive. It's right beneath. It's what singers use and yogis use. Of course. Kind of again, just kind of play with it. I get them to, because I have the voiceover background, I get them to channel their own favorite superhero, the Wonder Womans and the Supermans, and they, kind of get their Superman pose, the Amy Cuddy pose, and really play with their voices like an instrument so that they can start realizing that they can tune their voices ever so subtly, but convey more of those intentions to match the role to the scene and win the scene.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense. And you being a leader on the forefront, and it really is pretty innovative, I would say. You don't hear too many individuals attacking the confidence, right? The getting into a higher position. And the way to do that is through voice, right? Give good voice.
Great voice.
Give great voice.
Why give good when you can give it great? And at its essence, that means to be able to move, touch, and impact with our voices. Move, touch, and impact, because my job as a voiceover artist and actor for the last 35 years is to take words off the page and breathe and speak life into them, to become the professional storyteller that I am. But everyone's a storyteller. It just depends many of us are doing it digitally, and we're not even growing up with it. We grew up, or at least I did. I'm older than you, but in a day and age when you had to use your voice as your main mode of communication. Relationships were built on phone calls and in-person meetings, and then we evolved digitally to Snapchats, and I mean to the point where we're emojiing our conversations. And so we've lost a certain amount of that ability to practice using our most powerful communication tool.
So you don't use voice text or you don't do voice messaging?
I do. I actually
I do too. There's not that many people think I'm weird sometimes for doing that.
I love voice messaging and voice texting because, again, if I can share a tone of warmth when I'm saying, hey, I'm thinking about you and it's so great to, see you the other day, or I'd love to see you. And it's not, a run-on sentence for 3 minutes. That's going to resonate more deeply. And especially when I've ever done it on LinkedIn, I always get that, like, I didn't even know you could do that. And I love the message, the response, as opposed to the cookie cutter, and the automatic, it's a pleasure to connect with you too. It's a pleasure to connect with you too. People really are not only appreciative that you took the time, but they get to know you far better than any text could convey.
No, absolutely. And so I'm curious to know when, with your strategies in the past 25 years that, you've been in business, has your agent, you said you have an agent, right? Has that been your primary source of client acquisition, or have there been other means?
Well, as a voiceover artist, strictly my agent, and then I've expanded outside of having an agency. So yes, as always, but now coming into this new paradigm as a speaker and a teacher and a coach, it's all on me. Now it's all me, client relationships and building my brand awareness.
Your brand, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I put out a TEDx talk, because I thought my message is all about the voice. The platform of TEDx is something that is an incredible way to consolidate and kind of take something that's obtuse. What does it mean to give great voice? And succinctly share in 16 minutes what it is. And that kind of launched my ability to now have clients find me. And I'm on all the platforms on social media.
Yeah.
And just sharing, again, in little chunks, what it means to give great voice in different aspects. And I even did a fun unmask your message recently of how to give great voice through a mask, because that's another. These are things
of current
that we're
events.
having to
That
deal
makes
with,
sense. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I just used my TEDx as my launching, and now I gain my own clients that way for the speaking. For the voiceover, which I still do daily, I still mostly rely on my agents, but I also get clients directly in finding me, again, through Instagram and social media. It's a totally different world now.
Yeah. And so when right now you have an opportunity to speak to other executives out there or other individuals that really, haven't been introduced to your methods. So what kind of advice would you give to those executives that maybe, who knows, right, struggling with some confidence and struggling in finding their own professional voice? What's kind of some advice you would give to them?
Well, as I said, everything starts with the 4 questions. These 4 questions of thinking of yourself as the role. I have everyone on my clients work with me to look at the multifaceted, magnificent me map, because most people don't take the time to see on paper how multifaceted they are and how magnificent. Meaning they don't think about the fact that you're a podcaster and you're a digital marketing executive, and you're a son and you're a friend, and maybe you're a dog father or an athlete or a husband or a father. These are all roles, and depending, of course, how we play them, we feel either successful or not. And so, of course, to be in the business world, that's where we really feel that pressure. And I would consider asking the 4 questions. So if you're a leader and you're like, who am I? Well, I'm the executive of a company. Who am I speaking to? A lot of times my employees. What do I want? Well, I want to encourage, inspire, motivate. I want to lead. I want to
gain respect. I mean, there's all
respect.
That, right?
These are all intentions. And it's not just the words we say. More than not, it's actually the tone we say it in.
Yeah, like just asking. I'm just thinking of times you're asking your employee for a favor, or maybe you want to teach them something. You can't come off. You got to be careful with having too strict of a voice, too strict of a tone on all that, right?
Yes,
Very empathetic. You have to change that.
exactly. In other words, many times when I teach what I need to learn, we're very reactive. And so in the moment, your voice has that snippy or impatient tone. And, you'll get your employees to do it, but will they want to be more loyal to you or less loyal to you? I was talking to somebody in a podcast about he deals with big corporate companies, and 70% of unhappy employees, it's because of the way they're spoken to.
That's an insane number.
It's 70% that if they felt more respected and more appreciated, that their level of happiness and contentment and desire to do their best would go up if they felt that their superiors spoke in a more kind.
Wow.
Yeah, I was blown away by that number. Now, of course, I don't have the stats myself, but he said he works with a lot of office. And this makes a lot of sense, though, because we are so often driven by our approval, meaning that we all internally want to be approved of. And so when we feel seen, heard, appreciated, and respected, all of us, my kids,
that's
my
like
husband,
every human being.
human nature,
in relationships, it's easy. It's supposed to be easy.
Right. Like, I always joke that my husband knows exactly how I feel about him as soon as I've said his name. And oh, sorry.
No worries. It happens normally.
We'll cut that one. Hold on. Hey, get out. Come on, Tabby. Tabby. Come on, baby. Sorry. Come on. Get out. Get out. We'll stop that. Take that one again.
No problem.
For a longer walk. Let's try that again. But we have a lot of lovely, juicy nuggets. Okay, so I was taken from that same spot. My Bernedoodle. Because I told them it was 20 minutes and you and I talked for that long. All right. So shh. Let me close the door.
Right.
Hold on.
No problem. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we'll go back to that. So we'll just go back. My husband, I'll take that one. So again, tone. So my husband knows exactly how I feel about him as soon as I've said his name. Because again, I can say, honey, did you pick up the dry cleaning? Harvey, did you pick up the dry cleaning? Boom, conversation, done. Or I said, honey, Harvey, honey, Harvey. I mean, I wouldn't have had to say the last, the hackles on his neck are going up as soon as that tone.
Like, oh, shoot, what did I do?
Right? Don't we all have that experience with people that we love? And the result is, like, if I think about my role as wife, loving, as aspirationally, again, we're all human. And I often fail, but what do I love? I love him, support him, patience, kindness, compassion, passion. But in the moment, reactive, annoyance, criticism, overbearing, all the things that maybe he'll say, and we've all had that experience. Yeah, I did pick it up, hon. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. The tone goes, or no, I forgot. Well, is he going to want to pick up the laundry or the dry cleaning that much more? No, not if I'm that critical tone. So it's really becoming more aware, taking a breath and thinking to myself before I get on that Zoom call, before I walk in the door, what's my intention for this particular conversation? And is my tone going to support the intention?
Yeah.
Because we all have intentions, right? I'm going to make the day. I'm going to have a fantastic day. I'm going to get all this done. And then we think, by 10 a.m., how many conversations have we maybe had that didn't support the overall intention of our day? I certainly am one of them. It's like 10 a.m. I've sniffed at my husband. My kids have looked at me, like, is that really giving great voice, Mom? Is that?
You're like,
call me out.
I'm not bringing work to home. All right.
They're calling me out. They keep me accountable. But that's what I like to offer, that if leaders can start thinking about, when I'm going to speak, what is my real intention? Not just the words, but what do I want them to feel? And what do I want them to take away emotionally as well as psychologically. And, it's like hitting the heart and the head. And when you can combine both, you can achieve your goals.
Nice. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. So going off of that, other leaders that you've worked with within your network that you believe, have a voice to share with our network, who would you like to acknowledge?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Carmine Gallo because he is the writer and he's a professional speaking coach to the world and all the top executives. And he's written books like Talk Like TED and The Storyteller's Secret and 5 Stars. And, I'm a great admirer because he literally says, especially in this day of AI, which is taking over more and more of our jobs, that it's not enough to have an ability, being a great coder, being all these things that used to be like, you didn't have to worry about telling the story. But now you got to be able to tell your story and differentiate yourself from, the machines that are doing their job so well that unless you can create something that is a humanistic, impassioned skill, then we're going to be losing a lot of our jobs to those machines that you don't have to worry about, the emotional connection. They just do it better on so many levels. So I think he is a forerunner of how important it is to be able to tell your story. And I think he would be a fabulous person for you to get on.
Perfect. And finally, actually, I have 2 more things I'd like to request of you. So number 1, how do you celebrate when you get a sweet job, right? Where you get a sweet gig, and either now that it's you as a speaker, or it's you as a coach, or it's you as a voice actor. What do you like to do?
Well, you're going to think it's kind of corny, but I love to celebrate it by having a great conversation about what just happened.
So you sit your husband down?
Well, whoever, all my supporters, the people in my life who have babe, guess what just happened? Because to me, the celebration is like, there's always been an obstacle. There's always been a challenge. And the joy of sharing it and having the reciprocal, that's amazing, sweetheart. I love it. Good for you. Or my assistant or my mentors. There's appreciation, there's gratitude, and there's usually a story of how it came out. So to me, that's like the greatest thing you can offer and receive, because nothing happens in a vacuum. Can't do it on your own. And it's like, even when I have an amazing night, like a party or a wedding or some kind of special event, the act of calling the next day and reliving it, because sometimes you have that real high and then it just goes incredibly low, because it's like, now what?
What's next? Okay.
Right.
So you want to live it a little bit.
I want to relive it and express gratitude, and also, convey that warmth, and appreciation that people helped me along the journey, which they always do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And before we sign off, so this is that second request. If you can, a character or a commercial that you can remind the audience of so they recognize your voice, what would you, can you give us an example?
Okay. Well, one of I've done a lot of video games, and people love the role of Poison Ivy, when the seductress. Again, she's very much known for that in the Arkham games. And so I'll give you an example, and just using her as those 4 questions. Who is she? She's known as the mother of all nature, supervillainous, eco-terrorist. And what does she want? Well, she wants to protect her nature, her plants, and who is killing the plants but the humans. So the who is, she's the seductress, but she has to seduce in order to get her enemies close enough to kill them, because her venom lies in her. So there's always a why, right? So the why. So who she's speaking to, Batman, what does she want? She wants to get him close enough to kill him. And then how does her voice support that? Well, come here, Batman. Versus, come here, Batman. Which is going to get him over?
yeah, you're right. One's like, okay, I'm getting out of here.
Voice follows the intention, right? One is the seductor. So this is, again, I understand so clearly as my roles, and the same things we can kind of apply in our real life. So that's why I always love to use her, because it's so clear cut what seduction sounds like. But in life, look at you. You're in this wonderful podcaster. You got this jovial, wonderful, warm personality. You speak so well. You're a great host. You play your role so beautifully.
Yeah.
Yes!
Thanks, Tasia. And
Thank
if
you.
others want to,
Wait, no.
Tasia,
That's okay. We'll get that one again.
yeah. Thanks,
Tasia like
Tasia.
Fantasia. Tasia like Fantasia.
Tasia.
Yeah.
Thanks. So thanks, Tasia, for hopping on. If others want to get a hold of you and they want to connect and learn more, where do you recommend they go out?
Well, I'm all over social media, but I'm definitely on LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter. But, for business purposes, I think LinkedIn is a great place to go, or to DM me. And on my website is tasiavalenza.com. And also Give Great Voice. If they can't remember anything else, they just who's that Give Great Voice lady? That's me.
GiveGreatVoice.com.
GiveGreatVoice.com. Mm-hmm.
All right. Perfect. Thanks everybody for tuning in to the Sage Executive Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.